Alright, welcome back. This is MDawg, and we are fishing at amber. I really just want to talk a little bit about amber in general. I've been fishing a lot at amber over the last couple of days, and we're still seeing a lot of spots that seem to be responding really well to the garlic and mussels baits, boilies, as well as artificial corn. And so this is kind of the setup I'm using. I'm going to show you one particular spot, but I'm also going to tell you that there are a ton of spots at amber right now, and they all are not the same. In fact, some of the spots feel very distinct, very different. But there's one thing that's true of all of the spots that I've tried, at least, is these baits seem to be doing really well. Now, this spot that we're at right here is 83-145. A couple people in chat last night told me about this spot. And this is a nice short clip of 35. We're casting right over there to the peg that is in front of us. Then that's the number one peg sitting here from 83-145. So let's go ahead and get one or two of these lines out. And this setup we're using has, like I showed before, a 1/0 hook, as well as the 16 size pop-up garlic and mussels and the mussel flavored green corn with mussel dip. And then we're going to be using a corn mussel PVA mix, which has got a cornflower base. But there's a lot of, most of the PVAs you see that are working right now either have the rapeseed or cornflower base. There might be some other variants, and then just kind of throw in some, corn or some of the mussel pellets. I mean, it's just kind of, people are all over the place with the PVAs, but most of them are sort of complementing the garlic and mussel. So this one's going to be the same thing, 1/0 hook, basically that same setup. In fact, I'll probably put, to start off with, at least all three will be identical here as we start fishing. Hopefully we'll catch a couple of nice fish here for you while we're recording. What I will say, though, is before we talk about this spot in particular, let me show you this line. At a lot of the other spots, this setup is actually working really well. So the smaller hook, large 1 hook, but then the big boilies on there, 2 boilies, the 16 and the 20. Now, I don't love this setup for this spot, so we are going to change it to 1/0, kind of like what we have on the other ones. And we're going to change this to boilie and corn. We'll go with 16 and the green corn. The other thing that works is the natural fluorescent artificial corn. You'll see a lot of folks using that. In fact, we can start with that. I haven't really tested that in this spot as much, but in a lot of spots, that's been really good. So let's go to 35 clip, and we'll get this in there as well. Now, the reason why I do 1/0 hooks here is because one of the issues for this spot, if you do the regular large hooks that you would normally do for carp fishing, or that I would normally do, you get such an active bite rate. It's just like you're getting constant bites, but you're getting a lot of smaller fish. And so what you're trying to do is play into the strengths of this spot, which one of the strengths of this spot is actually just the variety of fish that you're going to catch on these baits and the bite rate. But you want to try to rule out some of the smaller carp, the undersized carp, as best you can. I think some folks are even going to 2/0 hooks. That's just a step too far for me. I'm willing to put up with a certain amount of trash, but we're going to catch, typically in this spot, at least recently, been catching barbel and eyed and then some decent carp. I've not caught any trophy carp. In fact, I don't think I've caught anything over 18 kilos from this spot. There have been some trophies in other spots, but this spot may still be worth your time. You can still make a ton of silver here, primarily because of the volume of fish you're catching. Some decent carp mixed in, and like I said, some really nice barbel and some eyed, but it's kind of just a fun place to fish, and it's a little different than your typical place at amber, and that's why I wanted to show it. I'm trying to think. Of course, the pond is still reasonably good. What is it, 64.94? Is that that typical spot that's right there at that first peg? If you come out of town, go over here. Where is it, like down here maybe? I can't remember where 6494 is off the top of my head, but that spot's doing pretty well. The spot that I showed a few days ago, which, what is that, 9277 or something like that, that's still doing really well. There's a trophy spot where I call it a trophy common carp, and a lot of people have been fishing that spot, and I'll tell you the coordinates of that spot in a minute. If you look on Discord, you'll see a lot of folks have been. See that barbel? That is a 5.2 kilo barbel just right off the bat. And look at this bite rate. We've already got another fish on the third rod here. And it's kind of like this in this spot, you know. It's an entertaining spot to fish for sure. But I want to make sure I don't tell you the wrong spot on where that trophy common came out of last night. And this will just be a quick video. I'm not going to go on and on here, but I did want to just highlight this spot and just kind of give you a general update about amber. You know, as you try these different spots out, if you're doing a lot of fishing in amber, if the bite rate's not super active like this one is, I would say go back to large one hooks. And then also remember to try some of the other setups. I think these setups that have the smaller 16 boilies with the artificial corn tend to catch smaller fish, but then every once in a while you'll get a monster on it, so it's kind of all over the place. But I've really adjusted the baits I'm using, at least the size of the boilies and how much corn. You know, sometimes I'm doubling up on artificial corn, so like 4 corn total, 2 artificial corn and 2 artificial corn, both of them different types of garlic mussel, and that's working in some spots. But let me make sure I'm saying the right thing on this. Is it 148.72? I think it is 148.72. And let me see if I can remember where that is. I believe that's down here, 148.72. And you're casting right sort of onto the left side of this, like north, about a 40 clip. That's where the trophy common came in. And see, that spot's a good example. That is a very slow bite rate compared to this spot. But the fish you do catch there are, you know, really awesome fish. So it's kind of like what you're looking for. If, you know, you're watching Netflix, you've got something else going on and you're kind of fishing in the background, a spot like that is really nice because you're going to hit probably a higher percentage of trophies over there. But if you're really engaged in fishing and really wanting to have an active spot and make some good silver, this is a good spot. I was at 92.77 and got like 95 fish from that spot. And that was about 1,100, 1,200 silver, something like that. And then I did the same thing at this spot, and it was right at 1,100 silver as well. So, and the bite rate's enough that, I mean, I know at a carp spot, thinking of catching 100 fish or 95 fish sounds like a lot, but the bite rate, especially during the day on this spot, it really doesn't take that long. So you're eating into your profit a little bit because you're going through so much of the PVA and baits and stuff. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. This spot's really good if you don't have PVA. Yesterday when I was fishing this spot, the second half of the time, I think I only had PVA in one of them, and the other 2 I just used the dip without PVA. Still really good bite rate, still catching nice barbel, eyed, and some decent carp as well. So this spot kind of gives you some options there if you don't have 100% on bottom fishing yet. That's a decent one. A lot of the clips I've been fishing lately have been 40 or 45, so going down to a 35 clip also kind of feels nice. You're getting the fish in pretty quickly in comparison. Let's see if this is a mirror. It's getting to be later at night, so sometimes the mirrors seem to come out in the evenings or in the overnight hours. I guess this one hooked up about 11 p.m., so or just after that, so it may still be a common or something else. And if you sit here and fish and get 100 fish, I mean, the amount of species you're going to have is pretty diverse. It's definitely not just one type of carp coming out of here. And this was on the, that's a nice mirror, 12 kilo mirror. This is, again, on the fluorescent corn, which that'll work all day long. I mean, I guess in a way you would think maybe it works especially good at night. But it seems to be a reasonable substitute for the artificial corn over having the green mussel on there, which also works well. I think we'll catch up. I think we might catch more barbel and eyed on the green mussel ones, but I haven't used the fluorescent ones in this spot. I used fluorescent on one of my lines in the 9277 spot, and it did great. Yeah, we were hoping that was a barbel. It's a very small linear, but see, there's another carp species that we're going to catch here is linear. So we are 6 fish in, and we've already got 3 different species. Eventually we'll add eyed to that. We'll occasionally catch common here, although that other spot I was telling you about probably has a higher percentage of common than this one. Again, hopefully barbel. It's like when you get these, you know, you can immediately tell it's a little smaller. In this spot, you're hoping like, okay, maybe this will be a decent barbel. Because if it's a carp, it's way too small. That looks carp-like, doesn't it? So there's our common. It is going to be a marker, but it's on the small side. And you get so many of these. In my opinion, if you use large 1 hooks, it's just, you get bogged down in really small carp. Even though some of them are still markers, some of them aren't markers. And so, like, do you need fish pieces? Because if you do, you could maybe justify it. But if you don't, that's where I feel like it's worth changing the hook size based on how active the bite rate is and how many small carp are in that spot. But this is a fun place to fish. I was glad that I tried it last night. Some people in chat were talking about it. Let's see if I can remember. There were 2 people. Plugie might have been one of them. Or maybe, no, he was doing 64.94. I think it was Dynamic. I just can't remember who the other person was. I apologize. 2 people were talking about this spot in chat, and this is what led me to come try it, because there's so many good spots at Amber right now. Like I said, even just fishing 64.94 is working good, the old school spot, but there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. I really wish that the map program had Amber on there, because I'm getting to the point now where there's so many different spots that have been good recently. It's getting hard to keep it all tracked. I basically just keep an open one, Word type document. Let's see what we have here. Trying to remember, there's one spot I was fishing at yesterday. I was actually on this garlic setup. I was actually catching bream as well. This might have been one of those places. Again, just so many different species that seem to be attracted to this this bait setup right now. But if you're at a spot and you want to slow the bite rate down and try to get better fish per fish, going to a double boilie or using different baits can still help. I think there's other baits that are still working. It's just right now across the lake, this garlic setup just seems to be doing so well, both for trophies and for like volume fishing. So in about 10 minutes, we've got 8 fish. It's really good bite rate. And it's through the day, it's this crazy, if not more so, I think probably during the day. I think if anything at night, it slows down a little bit. But when we start hitting 3, 4 in the morning, it'll really pick up again. So again, this is 83 145. We are casting straight across towards that peg at a 35-meter clip. We're primarily using garlic and mussel 16 pop-up with Old Pal mussel flavored green with mussel dip and a corn flour based mussel type PVA. We are using 1/0 hooks. 1 hooks will work, but you're certainly going to be getting a little bit higher volume of fish, some of which will be below marker size or right at marker size. Okay. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what your experience has been like at Amber as we continue to bounce around this big lake and hopefully find some more trophies. Thanks a lot.